time, we are going to record this meeting, and we got some great things coming up for March. We have our Empowerment Center, yearly Empowerment Center, an annual parent engagement, conference that's coming in March. And then our Secac meeting in March is going to be 21st. It's going to be technology for students and support for executive functioning, learning, communication. So we got some great updates coming on that as well. And so I'm going to, let's see, it's 6:34. So I'm going to cut my thing short. And if anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat. Or if you got the invite from me, if you got any questions, my email is in there. You can send them to me, or send them to the listservs, CCAC listserv, if you have any other questions. I'm going to now turn it over to Marcy Tershon, who is with the Family Support Center, for them to give their update.
Hi, thanks, Troy. Hi, everyone. As Troy said, I'm Marcy Tershon. I'm in the Family Support Center in the Department of Special Education, and my colleague Yvette Young, who is our social worker, is here with me as well. And we just want to give you some updates about some exciting events that are coming up within the next couple of months from our department. So we always want to, first of all, I want one slide. We want to acknowledge our School Board of Education and Dr. Monica Golson, who is our Chief Executive Officer. All of our presentations, we like to start with kind of an overview of the Family Support Center. This is us. It's Yvette, myself, and Dr. Beth Jayate, who is an instructional specialist. We will send these slides to Sarah so that you can post them, but just briefly, most of the things on this page are links. So you'll see we have here our mission, our resources, our workshop calendar, consultations. We have our Family Support Center, which links out to our webpage. Probably the most important thing to everyone is our YouTube channel, which houses all of our previous conference sessions and things like that. And we also have our Twitter page, which will advertise each conference session and any resources that we have available. So one of the first things we want to tell you is about the Maryland State Department of Education Parent Survey. It is live now. It is what drives our work in the Family Support Center and a lot of the work in the Department of Special Education. It is a survey. It is an anonymous survey. If you have a student with an individualized education program or an IEP, it will have been mailed to you to your mailing address, but it is also available online in English and Spanish. You should have received it probably within the last week. If you did not, you can still access it online through May 19th, 2023. You can also use the QR code here within this presentation to access that survey. So we wanted to give you a little bit more information about what this survey provides. And so this is based upon our 2021-2022 parent survey results. And it's 24 questions. It takes approximately 10 minutes to fill out. Like I said, it is anonymous. It does not have any information required about school or student name or anything like that. But it has some really important questions, like my child's school consistently implements all of the accommodations and modifications documented in my child's IEP, or the school and/or school system gives me enough information to know whether or not my child is making adequate progress. So not only do we receive these results, and each year they set a criterion met for the to be considered meeting expectations. And this year for 21-22, when we got the results, the criterion met was 72.5%. So as a district, we met 8, we were approaching 7, and we had needs improvement on 9. So all of this is great information, but what do we do with this information? So how do we use that data? Well, for families, it drives our process for improvement. It increases district and school accountability. It provides the district feedback on how IEP team process can be more inclusive. It provides feedback on areas that impact service delivery, and it really helps us to identify barriers and needs. In addition to the quantitative data, We also get qualitative data because there are some pieces within the survey that ask for comments, and we receive those comments. They are redacted if there's any identifying information, but we do receive the qualitative comments as well. Specifically within the Family Support Center, we use this information to develop workshops and training for families and school staff. This is how we develop the materials and the resources that are needed for schools. This is how we guide our development of services and programs for families related to the areas of need. We share this feedback with stakeholders, whether it be district stakeholders or school stakeholders, and it also identifies opportunities for collaboration. On a larger scale, in the Department of Special Education, it really guides the development of department-wide initiatives to address family engagement. And it helps us devise plans to address identified areas of needs, and it helps the department share feedback with schools. So again, that survey is open until May 19th, 2023, and we really appreciate the feedback, and we want to hear from you so that we can help design our programs for families. As Troy mentioned at the beginning, we are coming up on our Parent Empowerment Conference. It will be our 12th annual Parent Empowerment Conference. Our theme this year is collaborations, working together for equity and access. It is a virtual event or series of events. It begins on March 18th with Paula Moraine, who is a local speaker that we have coming in. She is the author of Helping Students Take Control of Everyday Executive Functions, The Attention Fix. And she has also been the board president of Learning Disabilities of America, the Maryland chapter. And so she also has Autism and Everyday Functions. Her presentation on helping students take control of everyday executive functions will again be March 18th. It is our keynote event, and it will be from 10 to 12 that day. It is a Saturday, and we've put the link on here as well. But our topics run through June 1st. And so anything from dyslexia through accommodations and accessibility, understanding IQ assessments, transition, early mathematics and literacy, and autism. And speaking of autism, we are super excited that we are returning in person this year. First time since COVID, and we are collaborating with a group of school psychologists to present an autism summit. It is called Collaborative Conversations. It will feature a parent panel. It is co-sponsored by Pathfinders for Autism Spectrum of Hope, Parents Place of Maryland, and the Office of Psychological Services. And there will be conversations on transition, advocacy, adaptive needs, relationships and boundaries, and more. It is in person at John Carroll. It is from 8. It is about half a day through 1:30. The registration information is in this slide deck. And you can also call us at our office. We'll put the number on the presentation. I see a question from Sarah. Is there a single web page that lists all the presentations? Yes, there will be. It just hasn't been released quite yet. We're still finalizing a couple of the descriptions. Finally, we are running our behavior challenge changes support group. It has been running this, I think this is our 3rd or 4th year, but this year we only have 4 sessions left and the dates are listed here. We would love to help support you. And so we are starting to wind down for the school year, but we still have those 4 sessions left. So we would love for you to join us. And just some quick PGCPS upcoming activities. March 3rd, the 3rd quarter progress reports will be released online. PGCPS is hosting a series of community meetings on fentanyl, and also hosting a series on MCAP family information. This will be a guide to individual student reports, and it is available open to parents. So there is a link to register here as well. And we also have the Special Education College and Career Fair coming up on Wednesday, April 12th. There is a link to register here. And we are excited for the return of Special Olympics PGCPS, which will be Thursday, May 4th, 2023. and we will provide more information to follow. I see Sarah said, what is MCAP? MCAP is the Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. It is the statewide testing program, and that was taken in the spring of last year. It is not called PARC anymore. It is called MCAP. They are doing it only as a Maryland assessment. We also have our Transitioning Youth Fair, which is April 25th, 2023. There is a link to register as well as an email and phone, and there is also a web page. And that is it. We've told you about a lot of upcoming activities. Like I said, I will share the slide deck with Sarah so she can get it posted on the website, and we hope to see you at a lot of these activities, and we'll provide more information as it comes out. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Troy.
All right. Thank you, Marcy. Hopefully everybody got that information. Like she said, we'll provide the slides for everybody on the Secac PG website, and hopefully everybody will have a chance to go and grab that information. But let's talk about why we're here tonight. So we're here to learn about a variety of resources, programs, and services that support our families of children, young adults, teenagers with disability and special health care challenges in Prince George's County. So we got 3 speakers lined up. Our first one, many of you know, she don't like to claim it, but she's a rock star in my opinion, is Melanie Clark, and she is from the ARC of Prince George's County. She is the Ready at 21 project director. She's also the education and community engagement manager for the ARC of Prince George's County. So let's welcome Melanie Clark to Secac tonight.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Sound good?
Yes.
All right. All right. So I'm super happy to be amongst friends. I have a long history of supporting families with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It is my passion. If anybody that knows me knows I love providing information and resources, assisting to promote good life outcomes for families such as myself. I have a daughter who's now 30 years old. And so it's been a long journey for me, but I'm just as excited to do the work that I do as when I found out she had a disability, and I started looking for resources as a parent. And so I'm here tonight just to give you a snapshot of what the ARC does for pretty much for children. I'm going to focus on a lot of programs and things that we do for our younger folks, and hopefully my PowerPoint will change here. Okay, there we go here. All right. So a lot of you guys know me because I used to work for the infants and toddlers program. I started out there. That's how I know Zuleika. And so if you don't know infants and toddlers, it is a program that supports babies, like from birth to almost up to 5 years old. And what the ARC does for infants and toddler program is case management. So that's our goal. So a lot of you guys have had service coordinators from the infants and toddlers program. So if you know of anyone who needs that, it's, you know, a referral, anyone can refer someone to the infants and toddler program. So I put the number there, but I know the Family Support Center already has that kind of information. Another program that we have is the ARC Child Care Program. That's a very small program housed in Northwestern High School. And it's really for younger families that have children between the ages like 6 weeks to 5 years old. So if you know of someone that's interested in learning more about the child care program we have in partnership with the school system and MSDE, please contact Becky Carter, and I put her email right here. And another well-known program is the Maryland Autism Waiver. We also provide case management for that program. And I love to talk about the Autism Waiver program because a lot of people may have heard it, may not have heard it. Oftentimes, families get a diagnosis of autism and no one has told them that this program exists. And so we definitely want to share the word. If you're on this Zoom meeting tonight and you don't know about it, we provide case management for the program. It is a Maryland state program. It offers a variety of services such as respite, family consultation, therapeutic integration, adult life planning. It has expanded over the years. And one important piece is that you'll get a service coordinator, autism coordinator, to help you with services once you are found eligible. But it provides Medicaid. And so we love for people to sign up. Oftentimes, families say, you know what, I heard about it, but I didn't sign up because there's a wait list. And so I like to think of wait lists as, what's that movie? Can't think of that movie, but Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't speak about Bruno. Like, we don't want to speak about wait lists. We want you to sign up, because you never know when they will take families off of the list. And so sometimes people say it is several years, and that might be the case, but there have been times when they have reduced the list and taken families off of the list. So it's a really beneficial program. So if you know of someone or yourself who has a child with autism, the school age, age 2 to 21, please sign up. It's a toll-free number, and you give them their information. And we always tell families, check back every so often to make sure your name is not dropped off the list. But that is one of the programs that we help with. We don't do direct service with that, but we do a lot of, as you see, we do a lot of case management for children. All right, so my favorite is the youth services and support. And a lot of people know me from our Ready at 21 program. This is a pre-employment service program, and this is funded through DOORS, the Division of Rehabilitative Services. And if you've never heard of DOORS, that is an area that focuses on employment. And so if your youth is between the ages of like 14 and 21, still in school, you want to check into this program. You want to do a referral to DOORS so that you can talk to them about employment. And it might be figuring out what career you feel like your youth might be interested in. And oftentimes they'll start off with talking about the pre-employment training services. We love this program because it really helps with career discovery, work readiness skills. It even talks about post-secondary opportunities, self-advocacy. And also it offers an opportunity for a paid internship. And so we really like to support that goal of youth getting a paid internship while they're still in school. It is documented that if a youth gets an opportunity to work at least twice while they're in high school, they're more eager to continue to work once they transition out of school. So if you're interested, if your youth between the ages of 14 and 21, please contact your DOORS counselor. And if your youth is in high school, each school has a designated DOORS counselor, and the service plan starts there. So if you contact us and say, oh, I want to be a part of Ready at 21, our first thing is to get you connected to your DOORS counselor. And that they start accepting referrals as young as 14 years of age. So we have another program called Project Search. And Project Search is another pre-employment training service program sponsored through DOORS. We actually have a Project Search on the Andrews Air Force Base. And so this one is really geared for those with that work, we call it WEBL. That's that paid internship, that getting that work-based learning experience. So they do rotations on the Andrews Air Force Base at different types of businesses. Maybe it's a restaurant, maybe it's a hotel, maybe it's an office, maybe a grocery store. This really helps you trying to figure out, what do I really like? And also building up those skills. So if your youth is probably in the last couple of years of school, maybe the last 2 years of school, please talk to your teacher. You can contact me. I can assist you in learning more about Project Search, but definitely start with that DOORS referral and meeting up with a DOORS counselor, because they are the ones that actually initiate the referral to our Project Search program. So we have a program, and some of you might have heard of this. If you have a young adult, there's 18 years and older, we have a program called the Benefits Enrollment Center. And I didn't forgot center out of there. I didn't put services, but it's called the Benefits Enrollment Center. So the service for the center is to screen, educate, and do application assistance for persons that are 18 years and older that live in Prince George's County. This is a very unique program. A lot of counties and states do not have a benefits enrollment center that's focused on people with disabilities. And it could be any chronic ongoing disability. But this is very important for our youth between the ages of 18 and 21 with a disability, because oftentimes they don't know what they might be eligible for being the age of 18, because that's considered an adult, a household of one for a lot of benefits. And so we're able to give you a screening, and then we can educate you on what are some of those core benefits that you should apply for that's going to help your loved ones once they transition out of school. It can help them currently, but definitely once they leave school. And what we do is provide you some application assistance. We prep you. These are the information, the documentation, the eligibility requirement for the different benefits. And some of the benefits are SSI, applying for SSI. SSI often gets you Medicaid, so that's kind of like a two in one. We also help with transit services, like applying for Metro Access, applying for the Developmental Disability Administration for those who have an intellectual and developmental disability. We also tell you about other types of financial assistance that may be occurring. We keep you updated on other resources that are happening when you get a screening with us. So any parent can come to us at 18 and we will provide you the adult screening. If you say, you know what, my child is not 18, but I really would love to know what benefits that are out there available for my youth, we tell you, come. Just if your child is 2, 12, just come to us, and we have like a little survey that we can then identify some benefits that they may be eligible to participate in. But at 18 is a really critical age, because now it's not looking at the parent's income, it's looking at your young adult income. So please come if you haven't come. And it's no cost. It's free, no charge. So, and you will leave with a comprehensive resource guide. And we also give you updates of what's currently happening that we feel like you need to be educated about. So we have another little program that once you come through our Benefits Enrollment Center, we have a program called STARS, and it supports through advocacy and resources. And this is a unique program that we received last year, and we were fortunate to get a continuation of this program. There are some families that need additional support. When you come through the Benefits Enrollment Center, we're going to give you the information, application assistance. We'll check back with you. Did you get the benefit? You know, and most people like, I'm good. All right. But then there's some people that really need some extra navigation. And so we will stick with them for like 90 days just to make sure they need that extra support. And sometimes they need some extra assistance. And so through the STARS program, we try to identify all the resources that we can identified through our Benefits Enrollment Center, other programs we had, and then we'll follow a family for up to 3 months to make sure they got it, they understand. And a lot of our Spanish-speaking families really benefit from this because they're often confused, So we're super happy to have this program called STARS. So come through our Benefits Enrollment Center, and then we can identify if you're a good STARS candidate to get that additional support. We have a new project called FIT. I like to call it Families Involved in Transition, where we're working with transition coordinators to support youth that are young adults. They're ready to transition. They maybe have transitioned in 22. They may be transitioning this year in 2023, or they might be transitioning in 2024. We want to survey them to make sure they have an understanding of the transition process, and especially for those that have developmental disabilities, such as autism, Down syndrome, intellectual disabilities. This way, we can make sure they have the most seamless transition from school to adult services, adult community life. Maybe it is post-secondary, but they might not know all the areas that they should complete an application for or understand the process. We often get families kind of confused with a lot of different systems because there's multiple systems as you transition out of school. So it's really critical that you at least have the basics. And so we're surveying families. You might get a contact from us if your youth is about to graduate in 2023 or 2024. So that is some of our youth and services and supports. And all right. So one of the major supports that the ARC has is we get a lot of funding to support adult programs under the Developmental Disability Administration, DDA. So with DDA, a lot of times you're not eligible to enter into DDA until you turn 21. There are certain times where we tell families, please apply for DDA as soon as you find out your youth has a developmental disability. If that's at birth, if it's at 5 years old or any age, we say apply. And you may be able to get selected. And that all depends on DDA's funding. But most of our services that we do for DDA is for those who are 21 years and older. And so I just wanted to make you familiar with a few of our service areas. One is our Bridges. We like to say Bridges program. Bridges is a day program that is for those who are more medically involved that may need more nursing supports. So they usually have a more significant disability. And so our Bridges program is held at our 1401 main office. And if you ever been to our main office, it's to the right. And so that's another program that's funded under DDA that we offer. And then we have our day program. And these are community-based programs that youth with developmental disabilities will come and have a fun, recreational life and leisure type of day, just out in the community. Small groups that's identifying things that they like to do. Some of them like to volunteer. Some of them just like to do fun activities in the community. Then we have our employment service area. These are folks that want to go to work. They may have door support, but they also have DDA, and we help them find jobs. We do some job coaching with them, but their whole focus is employment. And then we have community supports. And these, think of community supports as having that assistance to really be able to navigate the community. And maybe you want to go to a dance at Park and Planning, or you want to go out and have fun, but you just need a community companion to help you navigate the community. It's very community-based focus. And oftentimes our folks love it on the weekends or after they come from one of their day programs and they want to do something in the evening with Parks and Recs. They have a community companion that helps them navigate the community. So those are some of the 4 programs under our DDA.
All right, hey Mel.
Okay.
So we're gonna wrap up here because we want to make sure we stay with time. But I'm glad because that was a good segue to our next speaker, who's with Park and Planning as well. I also like the fact that you talked about the Bridges program, and I remember before I had to jump off on last month's call to work-related stuff. But I remember one of our parents pointed out about supports for those individuals that are really have real medical challenges or can't speak for themselves. And I think this Bridges program is an awesome program to assist with that. Also, are there any programs for the younger people that may have those medical challenges as well?
Not if they don't have DDA, we don't, because our focus, majority of our focus is for those 21 and up. But I would have to think of something because they're still in school. So you're looking for something after school, in the evening, and on the weekend for a more intensive.
Yeah,
Right.
got you. Something related to transition.
Yeah.
So, Mel, can you make your slides available to
Sure
us
can.
to be able to post on our website? And we want to thank you for your time and your information. You are a rock star, as I said before. There's her information. She's Director of Education and Community Engagement. There's her email address and her phone number. And we want to thank you very much, Mel. So her last slide before we finish, talking about going to dances and community supports and stuff like that, transitions perfectly to our next speaker, Ms. Sandra Kellstone. She's the TR coordinator, program access for Park and Planning and the Disability and the Special Programs Division and Disability Services. So she's going to share a bunch of information with us about some of the stuff what Melanie was talking about, right? So we want to welcome Ms. Sandra Kellstone. Sandra, you're speaking.
Sandy, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Just to let all our parents and community members know, we want to make sure we stay timely. So if you got any questions for Melanie, we're going to wait until after Sarah gives her legislative update. So make sure you hold all your questions, or if you want to put them in the chat so we can circle back to them after our presentations are done, that would be great. Sandra, are you having technical difficulties with us hearing you? Well, she's frozen.
She looks frozen. I can start for her if you need me to. I don't have her PowerPoint, but I'm her colleague. I'm Corey Smith. I'm our Training and Community Outreach Coordinator.
All right, looks like her audio is connecting. Okay, let's see. Sandra, are you with us? She looks still.
Hello, can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, and I'm not sure why I froze all of a sudden. So, we've been doing well until we get to me. Melanie, thank you so much for that wonderful segue. Always a pleasure working with you all. So I'm here tonight with Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission and to talk about the programs and services that we offer. So we're, I'm sorry, I have things to show you and I don't know why we are frozen all of a sudden. Bear with me 1 second. All right. I'm going to switch cameras. We'll go with what we can here. So I'm here tonight to talk about different ways you can participate with us in Parks and Recreation. We have lots of wonderful opportunities for people to come out and join us with. So one of the things that we have in order to get started is to create a Parks Direct account with us, which is very similar to like having a library card or establishing, maybe let's say going to Safeway or Giant and having getting a bonus card. So I can share these resources with you so that you know how to sign up for an account with us. And this is really important that you sign up and you get a Parks Direct account, so then that you could join any of our, register for any of our programs and services. So currently we have our guide out. It's kind of hard to see, I apologize. We currently have out our spring guide, and registration began March 15th for residents. And then classes begin actually tomorrow on March the 1st for some of them. There's a huge selection of classes. We do, many times we do leisure education sessions to help families or the person who wants to register, to help them identify what classes or activities may be of interest to them. So I want to go back to Parks Direct for a minute. When you're setting up your account, you are asked 2 disability related questions. One, if you need a disability support in order to participate within our programs and activities. And if yes, then the second question is, what type of support do you need to participate with us? And then that will, after that, if you register for a program, our program access staff will follow up with you to find out what it is that you need in order to support with us. So an example might be, maybe you're deaf and you need a sign language interpreter to be able to participate in a particular class. We offer the full continuum of programs and services, from therapeutic recreation programs, which are specialized specifically for people with disabilities. Then we offer inclusive programs. And if you need support within an inclusive program, we offer through program access many different levels of support. And then of course, people are encouraged to participate independently. It doesn't mean if you participate in a therapeutic recreation program that you have to only do therapeutic recreation. It is your choice how you would like, how you choose to participate with us. So let's say we have a 16-year-old who attends a therapeutic recreation camp in the summertime, and then he likes to participate in karate, but needs support with a maybe a companion within that karate class, but is able to take a computer class independently. So therefore, I've used the full continuum, and it depends on my needs as in relation to my abilities for the particular course that I'm signing up for. And our program access team is comprised of 6 full-time staff, and then many seasonal support staff that support our operations, as well as our therapeutic recreation team that has approximately 10 people. Altogether, we have approximately 21 people working full-time with the disability services and then the separate work units. So with our programs and the different activities we have approximately 45 different community centers. We have ice skating rinks. We operate our own airport. We have historic facilities. We have nature centers. We have boat rides, you name it, it's out there. There's something definitely for everyone to participate in. Melanie talked briefly about funding and different ways that people can seek out support. We do have a fee assistance program available. And if you feel that the cost is a barrier to you, reach out to us. Don't let it be the barrier. We can help you through our fee assistance program, or I can help also with connecting with scholarships and third-party billing opportunities where other people might be the payee to help support you in recreation. It would be so sad if we couldn't do the things we wanted to do because of money. So don't let money be the barrier to having fun. We also offer a lot of things for free. And I just want you guys to mark your calendar for May, because in May we have, it's National Fitness Month, and the Department of Parks and Recreation offers lots of free fitness activities. It's a great time to really come out and try new programming. I'm sure some people on here also would like to hear about summer day camp opportunities this summer. This is the big one. Mark your calendar for March the 15th. That is coming up very quickly. And registration, and don't forget, you need your your Parks Direct account to register for your camps. So our therapeutic recreation camps will be operating July 3rd through August 11th this year. We have our therapeutic recreation Fantastic Fridays coming back, which is for 4 Fridays in the month of July for $265. We have Splash and Dash, which also operates during July and August for $165. Therapeutic Recreation Teen Adventure Camps for $155. And then 1 week sessions, you have to look and see how the duration of the camp. It could be 1 week, it could be 4 Fridays, so they all differ. But the traveling teens camps are $124 per week, and you'd register by session. There are many, there's also the Summer Enrichment Afternoon Camp, which operates, it has a unique setup that it operates Monday through Thursday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So you don't have to be part of the ESY program in order to participate. If that camp time works for you from 1 to 6, that occurs during the month of July for $310. And then, of course, we also have all the inclusive day camps as well as available. And most certainly I'm not going to go through the whole list of that, but I do have that available to share that link. And Corey, I'm not sure if you already did. Thank you, Corey, so much. I appreciate that. And I want to take this time to introduce Corey as well. Corey Smith is the Training and Community Outreach Coordinator. And she may have some additional things to add, but one of the things that I want to put out there is that we have a spring fling dance coming up in April. Melanie briefly mentioned it. It'll be on April the 23rd. Did you have any additional activities you'd like to share, Corey?
I definitely want to highlight our Glow Walk Run, our 5K Glow Walk Run for Autism on Saturday, April 15th. Registration is open for that event. We are very excited for it. It's going to be a glow-tastic event. So come out and join us. This is an opportunity. This walk run, it's not timed. It is sensory friendly, fully inclusive, and it raises money for our autism scholarship. So, the scholarship to send autistic kids to camp with us in Parks and Recreation. So we would love for you, your family, your loved ones, your friends, anybody and everybody, come out. Registration is limited to the first 400 people. So come join us at the event this year. It's at Watkins Regional Park in, I guess, technically Upper Marlboro.
Thank you, Corey. And I put those dates in the chat as well. Are there any questions at this time, or do you want to take questions at the end, Marcia?
Yeah, we can take questions at the end. Question: did you have a PowerPoint presentation you wanted to present? If I know we have technical difficulties, if you have one, we can always send it. You can always send it to us, and we can post it on our website.
I'm happy to share a PowerPoint. I don't have a PowerPoint for tonight. I just had my handouts to share. And I'm sorry we had a rough start there. It kind of threw me off a little bit, but we're on a roll now. And if you'd like me to send you a PowerPoint, I'm happy to do that, or a place where we can send resources to and flyers. We also have a mailing list. Corey, do you want to share your constant contact and how people can register for our mailing list?
Absolutely. I will drop the link in the chat so that you can sign up to receive our newsletters. We have a couple of different lists. So if you're interested in specific things, you can just shoot me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat as well. So if you are interested in specific topics, just sign up for our newsletter and then we can talk later. about what specific topics you're interested in so that we can make sure you're getting the right version, because we have a couple of different listservs that we work off of on that one.
So, Corey, we did have a question about how do we register for the Glow Walk Run?
Yep. So I dropped the link to the spring programs guide. So the link is, if you go in there, the Glow Walk is available. You can also register on pgparks.com. I will make sure that the flyer is sent out to everybody as well. And I also saw somebody had a question about spring camps, and oh, the link didn't work. Okay, let me find another way to make that work for you, Tiffany. Sandy, okay. As far as I know, there aren't any. There might be one spring break camp happening this year. A lot of the community centers are not offering spring break camps this year, unfortunately. So if you are looking for spring break camps, they will be in the guide, the spring guide. So let me work on getting that guide posted in the link in the chat for you.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you, ladies, very much. It's very helpful information, and we hopefully everybody can get a hold of those links in the chat, and can use those links. So we're going to keep it moving forward. So we have our last speaker of the evening in terms of community resources and things of that nature. It's many of you might know her. It is Dr. Abila. I always call her Dr. Abila, Dr. A. Dr. Abila Tizanu. She's the director, pediatrician and mother of children with autism for Spectrum of Hope, Health, Wellness, and Community Services. I've worked with Dr. A for a number of years. She's given some talks at my church on a lot of supports for children with autism, and shared her information as well as being a pediatrician as well. So we want to turn it over to Dr. A. So Dr. A, take it away.
All right, good night, everyone. Good to see a lot of familiar faces, or names, I would say, on the call tonight. Hey, Christy. All right, so I'm going to share a quick PowerPoint. And when Corey reached out to me, I thought it was really important to kind of share a way for us to think about supports and services as well, as we have received a lot tonight. And I do apologize for coming on a little bit later. I had another meeting that I was participating in. So can you all see the slide there? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to Spectrum of Hope. Spectrum of Hope is a relatively new practice that I have transitioned to. And as Troy said, I am a mom. That's my first title, pediatrician. And I recently had the pleasure of completing a framework called Charting the Life course. And many of those who are involved in kind of adult services may be exposed to that. But I'm very kind of passionate about this, and I'd like to share just some tools and tips for us as caregivers when it comes to getting and using all of the information that we've been given tonight. All right, so Spectrum of Hope. Who are we? We are a social purpose entity. And what we do is work collaboratively with other individuals or other entities in the community to provide health, wellness, and community services. And I think what makes us unique is that we really use our heart. That's what guides everything that we do, our experiences with our children and our youth as parents and caregivers. And then we use culture to kind of cultivate wisdom and hope for those that we are serving. Our goal is really very simple. Our purpose is really simple. It's really to just connect those who are living with not only autism, but related developmental differences to opportunities that build hope, health, and happiness. So you'll hear me talk about that a lot, because to me, that's the equivalent of well-being. And just to give a little bit of clarification, a social purpose entity, we're not a nonprofit. We are a company that has a purpose of just creating a better world. So that really is what a social purpose entity is. There are three things that we seek to do, and that is one, to identify and provide a lot of outreach around the identification of children and youth with autism and other developmental challenges. The second is really linkages to supports, because we know that there's no one entity that can really serve our population. We really need community working together, and parents need information and knowledge to be able to get linkages. And that third is really that connection so that we are experiencing greater and sustained well-being. So our why, many of you are familiar with this, but we have 1 in 44 children who have a diagnosis of autism. And one of the things that are still a big challenge in our community is that we have children of color and girls that still lag behind in terms of identification. And in our county alone, although we don't exclusively serve Prince George's County, we have the highest population of children with autism. And we really still have quite a bit of ways to go when it comes to identifying. So that's really where our heart is. Again, I mentioned service from the heart. We really take into account family life and work balance, and then just our experience, as I said, as caregiver. And this is my family. My children have all now become adults, but they're the reasons why I do what I do. All right, so in terms of just thinking about how to utilize all the services and supports that you've heard about tonight, I'd like for everyone to kind of just think about the end. So starting with the end in mind. And when we think about what we want for our families, what we want for our children, to ask ourselves 2 really important questions. And the first question is, did we love well and did we live fully? And that's really what we want for ourselves as well as what we want for our children. But in order to be able to do that, we have to be able to create relationships and experiences that build hope, health, and happiness. And so again, I keep saying that because services and supports are wonderful, but if we're not using them in a way that feeds into this vision, sometimes it can actually overwhelm. So this is a very busy slide, but I feel it's important to share. And this is kind of like our Maslow's. One of the things I think is just so critical for us, and that I got from this framework that I've just shared with you all, is the creation of vision. And so when we think about our journeys, because our journeys are really just that, you know, we all have been identified, and that's why we're sitting on this particular webinar call with Secac. But there is really a process in terms of being able to achieve well-being for our kids and ourselves. And oftentimes we jump from identification right to supports and services. And I like for us to kind of take a step back and think about the visions that we are creating for not only our children, but for ourselves, our families as caregivers. And then that will help to kind of create some strategy. Why is that vision so important? Is because it really helps to illuminate you know, the strengths of our children, the strengths of our families, but it also highlights those things that are not necessarily there and the things that we need. And the one thing that we should also keep in mind is that vision is very dynamic, and it will and it should change over time, because it allows us to be able to kind of develop more capacity as we're seeking to live fulfilling lives. This is a visual that I think is a very powerful visual, and it is something called the life trajectory or vision for a good life. And maybe some of you have been exposed to it, some who've been a part of our organization, either when I was a part of the One World Center or even after. This trajectory talks about what does it take to build a life that has hope, health, and happiness. And so when we define that and we think about where we are on this trajectory, whether our children are very young, just entering special education, or maybe they are about to transition, that helps us to then take the services and supports that we learned about tonight and decide what really matters to us. You know, so we don't want, like I mentioned before, we don't want to get overwhelmed going here, there, and everywhere. We want to make sure that if we have created a vision for our children and for ourselves, that we are taking those services and we're choosing very wisely. When we think about services, we can think about them in 3 ways. Services that help us to connect to others. So we call that connecting and networking, talking to someone who's been there. Discovery and navigation, just getting information and education to help our vision become a reality. And then the last bucket are those goods and services. So the things that our children and what we need to kind of get by day to day. So with that, I want to just share the services that we offer at, let me go back here, at Spectrum of Hope. So there are four main services that we do. We are still in the business of doing diagnostic evaluations, but we really have the pleasure of being able to do this in a multidisciplinary fashion now. And so we partner with an entity called Heritage Care, that's just their therapy center. And so we do our multidisciplinary evaluations with the speech language pathologist, an occupational therapist, and a physical therapist. And so that allows a parent to meet all of those people at the very beginning, get advice, and then make connections into those services right from the onset. And we have also developed a wonderful collaboration with Maryland Coalition of Families, and they are typically there at the last of the 3 diagnostic evaluations to be able to provide peer mentorship and support for our families that we diagnose. So I really feel this is a really holistic way of being able to help families. The other thing we do is we provide consultations. So these are for children who may already have a diagnosis of autism or another developmental difference. And so being able just to help provide guidance and linkages for families, and also to help them create this vision that I've shared. Third is our family and caregiver supports. We have one service underneath this. It's called MAMAS, and that's an acronym for Mothering Authentically, Mindfully, and Aware of Self. And I know we have many of our, I see many faces and names that have been a part of that. And so if you are looking for a group to be able to safely share and safely be empowered and supported as a caregiver, I encourage you to be a part of that. And then lastly, we have our community education arm, and we do this in conjunction with Prince George's County Health Department, their family health services. So we have a dedicated person from the health department that's a part of our team. And what we do is we educate healthcare providers, childcare providers, and anyone that's just open to learning more about not only autism, but how to support children and youth with developmental differences within their entity. So those are our 4 lines of services. Another huge thing, like I said, is linkages. And so linkages for us there are kind of 8 critical linkages we want to be able to make and help our families make if it falls in line with their vision. But that includes, linkages to support groups and peer mentorship and respite. Helping to support their primary care providers as they support their children and youth with autism. Linkages to education, whether that be just directly to early intervention or educational support to people that can help their child navigate education. Linkages to related services, I mentioned that before. Behavioral supports like ABA, or even just your traditional behavioral health supports. And then social integration. So whether that is recreation or other ways in which families want to be connected, like social skills. And last but not least, research. So having our families have a voice at the table to kind of understand what are some things that need to change around our children's supports now and in the future. So that basically sums up what we're doing. If you have any questions or remarks or concerns, things you want to share, feel free to contact us. I put our phone number and emails there. For our Spanish-speaking population, they would reach out to Natalie. And then for anyone who is really interested in having community outreach and services, you'd reach out to Rhonda. And then Brenda is our practice manager. So most of the inquiries will come to her and she'll reach out. So that's us. And Troy, thank you so much for inviting us to be a part.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. A. Anytime. So does anybody have any questions? We had a bunch of questions in the chat for our dynamic speakers tonight. Any questions for Melanie? Any questions for Sandra and Corey? Any questions for Dr. A? Real quick, we want to see if there's any questions. Well, as a matter of fact, let me backtrack. Let me stay on point. And we're going to transition over to Sarah because she has a legislative update she wants to get into, and then we'll take questions. So let me correct myself and staying on time with the agenda. So we're going to turn it over to Sarah, and then we're going to take questions after Sarah is finished with her legislative update.
I'm pasting a link in the chat, which is to the Arc of Maryland's Annapolis Insider webpage. And you can track a whole bunch of bills. So they have a a thing you can download. There's 17 pages that look like this, tracking every imaginable bill you could think of that pertains to people who have developmental disabilities. And they talk about community living and working. They talk about education and childcare, legislation related to education and childcare. They have healthcare. They have justice and civil rights. So if you are interested in any of those topics, you can learn more about both what the ARC of Maryland thinks about the bills, whether they support them or think they should be amended in certain ways. Then you can do that. So there are many bills that are relevant to people with disabilities. I'm going to focus on ones that impact families I know and really try to, some of them are about community living and working, and then some are about education. But all those other areas that I just mentioned are also relevant to our families. So one in past Secac meetings, we've had the the Maryland Achieving a Better Life Experience, ABLE program. And there's legislation that's been introduced that the ARC supports that talks about who can establish or receive distributions from an ABLE account, and just requiring the 529 board to adopt procedures regarding how you open up an account. And so, especially if somebody doesn't have a designated beneficiary. Actually, our ABLE account is a little bit harder to open than other states. So you have to have a letter from 2 different medical providers documenting your disability. And for me, that actually turned out to be a barrier to opening an ABLE account. So I'm hoping that will address that. Second bill is an income tax caregiver tax credit that talks about allowing caregivers to a credit against the state income tax equal to 30% of qualified expenses paid or incurred that exceed $2,000. So if you are caring for somebody who has an illness or whatever, then this caregiver tax credit could really help families make ends meet. The burden of caregiving is both emotionally draining as well as financially draining. Next bill pertains to the Fair Wage Act of 2023. And in particular, they want the minimum wage to be, it says it wants to increase the state minimum wage rate in effect for certain periods of time based on annual growth in a consumer price index. So basically linking minimum wage to that. But one of the things that's important about this act is that it includes funding for DDA community care providers. This is important because in the past, it has been legal to pay care providers less than minimum wage. This does not get us the best quality people caring for our loved ones. So it would be nice to make sure that they can get paid at least minimum wage, which by the way is not even a living wage. So it's a really important bill. Another one, this one I've been posting on the Secac listserv about. This is about due process proceedings for children with disabilities. And it's about shifting the burden of proof when you disagree with your educational team about whether your child is getting an appropriate public education. Right now, the burden of proof, and that means the financial burden, it always involves an emotional burden when your child is not getting what they need. but the financial burden falls to families right now. And the federal legislation allows states to specify whether the cost should fall to families or whether it should fall to districts. And what happens is, because families are paying that cost and districts have a lot more money to pay high-powered lawyers, it can be very, very difficult to prevail in cases where you think that your child is not getting the education they need. So that one, if you're interested, you can subscribe to our listserv, and we've been posting updates there. Another one, this one I find kind of shocking, but it has to do with public health, home and community-based services for children and youth, and it just requires the Maryland Department of Health to expand access to and reimbursement for behavioral health, which is code for people who have challenging behaviors, collaborative care, case management, and wraparound services. They want to fund 100 slots for the entire state. So what that tells you is that there isn't even funding for 100 slots right now. The need is much greater than that, but it's a place to start. So that is that one. Another one that I really like has to do with paying teachers in non-public schools. Right now, their salaries can be quite low, almost half, usually about half of what public school teachers make. And non-public schools are therapeutic environments that require specialized training. And this would allow the state and counties to pay for the costs of those salaries and bonuses for teachers, you know, so that they're not that far below what public school teachers can get. Another bill that I really like, because this got my kid in trouble, House Bill 0469, extending the eligibility for a child with a disability to receive special education and related services through the child's 16th year of school. So if your child has a disability right now, if they get a diploma, they're booted out after 12 years. And if you have a child who needs more preparation for the world, then this bill would help them. There is not a cross-filed Senate bill, so I don't know how that one is going to go. So I think that's enough for tonight. But if you want more information, then you can click that link I put there for the ARC of Maryland, and they send weekly updates. And you have information about which committee is hearing testimony, and you can figure out which ones are coming up when. So